Transcribe and play along with solos. So why do you want to play the solos of your musical heroes? And why do you want to sound like the masters of your instrument? Well, the answer is super simple. Because they sound great and you want to sound great too. And if you sound like one of the heroes of your instrument, you sound great. The question is, how do we get closer to their sound, their expression and their way of playing? I'm sorry to say it, but this is how you do it. Copy, borrow, steal. Of course, there are a few steps in the process. Stick to these and I promise you, you'll get there. One of the really important things are to find great phrases that fits your playing. Transcribe or find the phrase and play it and apply it to your music. And these are the 3 steps to get the best jazz lessons ever. The first thing is to find material that fits your level of playing. This is such an important step because if you overshoot or undershoot, you'll get material that's so easy to play that you do not get the challenge and you'll get bored. You don't play. If you choose material that's too difficult, you won't be able to apply it to your music and that's frustrating. Dexter, Gene Ammons, Charlie Parker are 3 great artists where you can find solo material that's easy to apply. Of course they play fast solos too, but there are slower sections where you can easily find great material you can add into your playing. When you do this, listen carefully to what they are playing. Listen to it many times and you will find sections that you can easily transcribe, play and add to your music. One question for you: do you have artists or solos you want to recommend to other players that are relatively easy to transcribe or to play? It's a great help to all the players out there, so put it in the comments below. What is it you need to learn from the transcribed solos? Well, the notes are probably the least interesting and the least important. I believe the sound, the timing and the phrasing are the most important things to learn. And really, when you listen to an artist, these are the things that makes the difference between different great artists. Once I learned some of the solos on the album Coltrane Plays the Blues. In this process I discovered a great technique to really get under the skin of the solo. At the time I really wanted to learn to play the amazing lines of John Coltrane. And one of my missions were to learn the full solo of Blues to You by Coltrane. I told myself that when I have learned the full solo by heart, then I could take the next step and apply the solo to my music. And I was totally unrealistic. That's just not the way to do it. There is no, you must do this before this. There is only the best and the fastest way to get there. So what I should have done is start listening to the music. I did that. I sat down and listened to the tunes more than 100 times. Then I should have done this and marked the places of the tune which I really wanted to learn and add to my playing. Then I should have started playing those parts and transcribing those parts. For me, listening to the solo, transcribing it and playing it is one thing. It kind of developed into one process and I really recommend to do this. Play the lines you want to play, write them down and practice them. But please use the modern tools that are around. Use the YouTube slow down function, for example. And you can also find great solos that are already transcribed on the internet. YouTube is a great source. Often Coltrane is a bit advanced, so let's go back to Dexter's solo on Blue Bossa. We were coming from that the timing, the phrasing and the sound is the most important thing to learn. But to play that, you need to play the right tones. So start writing these down slowly. And when and if you're finding a transcription, listen to it, but make your own version, because you probably hear the sound different than other people hear them. There could be wrong notes in the transcription or a different interpretation of rhythm. Make sure you correct this to your liking and write it down, either in your memory or on a piece of paper or in Sibelius. So here comes the golden tip I discovered when I was playing those Coltrane solos. Play along with the phrase you are listening to, but play with headphones and have the music of your favorite player louder than your own playing. In this way you hear the soloist much more than yourself and you get used to the phrase and you get used to the sound and you hear that as a natural thing when you play yourself. Without noticing, I started adapting the sound, the phrasing and the timing of John Coltrane. When you're doing this, make sure you dig deep. Get the sound exactly as your favorite player. Get the articulation, the phrasing and the timing right. In this example you see that I have written down the articulation details of the Dexter Gordon lick, but written out notes say nothing compared to how it sounds. You really need to listen to it. When you're listening, you adapt the sound of the player. The next step is playing the phrase without the soloist. See how far you got in the articulation, the phrasing and the timing. See if it matches your favorite player. Listen carefully to what you play, how you play it and how your fingers move, and keep doing this until you get really into that sound. It's really really important to add the phrases into your music. Do not let great material go to waste. Adding the material into your music is quite obvious here. I'm adding the phrase into the middle section of Blue Bossa where it belongs. And this is why you have to choose the material you work on smartly. Choose to transcribe phrases on solos you are able to play, so forms you are able to play, tunes you are able to play, like Cantaloupe Island, like a blues, like Blue Bossa. Now start playing a solo where you actually apply the material. A couple of good tips is start without a backing track. Just play the bars before the solo, add the lick, but play rubato. In this example I play the E half diminished A7 D minor with only chord notes. This is because I want the full focus on my transcribed line. Adding a backing track is great, but you get the pressure of you need to play right now. You must play the transcribed line following the timing of the backing track. I'll repeat this. When you're starting to add your material, remember the timing, the phrasing and the sound of the favorite player. And again, this is one of the most important learning goals. Learn the style of your player, because you really want to get closer to the sound of your hero. When you want the solo lines of this lesson, you can download everything in the full lesson manual on Patreon. I've made lots of extra solo rounds on Blue Bossa based on the Dexter solo. With this you get fast-tracked into using the material of the solo. The link is in the description. So you got this great line and you sound great on 3 bars of Blue Bossa. What about the rest of the tune? Learn more of the solo to get even closer to the sound and the timing and the phrasing of your saxophone hero. But please do not do what I did, setting ridiculous goals. Do not wait with applying all the material until you got the whole solo. This is a stupid thing to do. Don't make my mistakes. Add the material right now. You need it, so add it right now. I chose to learn a simple 2-5-1 line, the F minor, the B flat 7, the E flat major 7. Because this is probably the most common progression in jazz. And this actually works on more places in Blue Bossa. So we come to this part where you really need to know what material are you actually playing. Because you want to change it and apply it to other settings. In the beginning of the Dexter lick, you have this F minor 7 line going up. This is just a scale line on a minor chord going up, and you can use it in a lot of places in Blue Bossa. Exactly, on all the minor chords. You'll probably run into a chord scale relationship issue. You need to know what scales belong to what chords. This is for another video, but a good tip is stick to the key of the tune. I did the work for you. I applied the minor scale to all the minor chords in the tune. This is a great way to learn the scales of the tune, but also applying the sound of Dexter Gordon. When you start playing this, you see that you have all these empty bars. Add 1 or 2 chord notes. Don't make it difficult. The most important thing is to get that Dexter Gordon sound into your playing, so stick with the main idea and get the phrasing, timing and sound rooted into your own playing. The key now might have seen that there's a 2-5 in bar 5 to 9, E half diminished A7 D minor. If you take the Dexter Gordon lick and dump it into the other 2-5-1, the E half diminished A7 D minor 7, you get this. Do the same steps as you did earlier. Play the new line rubato, add it to the form, and add a bit of solo around it. In the beginning, when training and integrating licks into your playings, I would definitely add it to as much music as I possibly can. Every tune I play, I see if there's a connection where I can add some of the licks I'm training when transcribing. You must have these lines you are transcribing ready in your fingers. So when you happen to hear a part of the lick you are training, you want to be able to apply it. So have it ready in your ears, right into your fingers. In the lesson manual of this week, I've added a lot of solo examples on Blue Bossa. Many of the solo ideas are derived from the lick of Dexter Gordon. Get it on Patreon, the link is in the description. And of course you want to dig further into transcribing and playing licks of your heroes, so check this video out. This is Charlie Parker lines added into your solos. A bit more on going into the theory behind it and how you apply the technique and licks into different keys. Play music, have fun.